I am here to get some results, the man said to the young woman. I see, she said, and you have come all the way here to get that. That's nice. But tell me, what do you mean by results? He looked at her, a bit surprised, and said, well, to get value for money and to become a reflective practitioner. Can you arrange that? I've got the money. Of course, but only on one condition, that you do as I tell you, all the way. Easy, he said. And in his eagerness to start, he didn't see the tiny mischievous twinkle in her blue eyes, and he had no idea how hard it would be to keep his promise. And that's about where this story starts, as if it was true. And thus it all started. All the people, all the languages, and oh so many nationalities, even a dark man, a Spaniard, and some women. No sweat, he thought. Just try to take it easy and look good. You'll be all right. But the wine was so sweet, even during the lunch breaks, and this was such a beautiful spot in the mountains. Not at all like the shabby downtown hotel in Brussels he had imagined. So what did you learn? They asked back home. And what are you going to practice? They demanded to know. After all, we invested a lot of money in you, you know. But it was hard to put words to his experiences, because those who asked hadn't been there. They wouldn't understand that he was a different person, a person who didn't care so much any longer, and at the same time cared so much more, but for different things. A person almost without answers to those questions to which there always had been answers, in a world where answers still were the measurement of success. How could he possibly convey to them his conviction that nature is our master and we are the apprentices? That when we feel bad, it is ultimately because nature suffers, and that deep inside we know the requirements of that nature, of which we humans are but a tiny part. And what on earth did this have to do with the IOD and the professional development program? It would be hard to explain how he felt when they sat there in that room, the 9 of them, strange persons, with a task to share and compare and find out about professional experience, and how the tension was triggered off by the question of why and why not he had chosen and refused to choose different persons in the group. With Corinne it was simple. She was nice and attractive, but there were others whom he had not chosen, and they were supposed to become one group in the end, heading for a common target, and that silent facilitator. And on the roof the acorns fell, as did they not care, and the wild boars dug their noses deep into the mud, as deep into the mud that he felt when realizing that he was not that nice, that I thought he was. And with the help of the others, he saw what he didn't see before, that some of his behaviors had perfectly natural causes, but were out of place now when he was old. And he saw it himself, as he saw things in others, and it was so right. How beautiful the world with trees and the horse with shiny hoofs. How kind it looked, his only friend, and then how utterly stupid he felt when his own group took him for a ride, just when he thought he was in the clear. Naked and foolish, clinging to his transitional object, his camera. There was a little share, and maybe a little compare, but mostly there was anxiety. Thanks heaven for coffee breaks. And then another terror, the large group, another animal. Who the hell are you? Seen, yes, but... And the next moment, as if he didn't exist, in spite of all his clever propositions. Oh, where did he belong really? to the woods, to the deer, to the water that looked so clear. And he couldn't really rely on the facilitators. There was Look, provocative and nice, and there was Liz. Yeah, she was nice, but ever so sharp. Perhaps Alex, but he was young. Hans, he was in the other group. And the women took long walks, Connie and Marianne, who liked towns. Did they intrigue? And at last the task, to cross the river on the self-made raft. And suddenly the lost personalities formed a group facing a common goal. Was this a purposeful activity system? Everybody worked, cheered, had fun, got wet. Tension was gone, as if tension didn't exist. He had no idea that so much could be learned about human behavior from a silly game like building a raft. And the night came, and the thoughts. What did you learn today, little boy? I learned the need to be recognized. I learned that I don't see what others see and that I need help to see it, so that I may get wiser and treat others differently. I learned that trust has to be built. Words are but words, and play is a powerful mirror of reality. This module is about the person, they had said, that autumn in the mountains, to a newborn, rather helpless child in a chaotic and hostile world, and the acorns kept falling. Later, when winter dawned upon the world, he felt the terror of going back building up within him. This time, they had said it would be about models. Who would believe that? But it was nice to see them all again. A new case, John in the shadow of a pentagram. He was suspicious. Then he realized that he saw them all with new spectacles. He saw them much better, and not only their outer appearances this time. Then the models, Y models, X models, superb. But tension was building up again, now in the whole group. Why? A lot of resistance. Why? The newborns from Module 1 became wild and rebellious. And right there appears a gentleman of great integrity, Mr. Checkland and Soft Systems methodology. And never before did he experience such hostility. But was it towards the man or the idea? Like bubbles in the air, the systems expand, but not the learning. We are certainly not a purposeful living organism. Or is it that everything has to happen to make things happen? And if one chooses to reflect, there is learning. And he took to the woods and saw the bursting trees. How much could he take? What to do with overload? Can this crazy world really be explained by a model? The sun is so hard to see sometimes. And in the forest he also realizes that even if we find good and beautifully designed vehicles, they may not be suitable for the roads we do not know yet, in the companies where we are to act our tricks. So what then is a proper design? A broad mind, perhaps. Lee explains how adults need to learn by doing and reflecting, and detest being put into a classroom. And then there is light. And Short adds to that. Harry is engaged and so becomes Wim. John appears regularly in the mornings for exercise and brings in the issue of payment for consultants in Western and Eastern Europe 100 to 1. How will we ever learn? And then there was spring with hope and despair, leaving and coming and maturing on the way. Spring dealt with issues, the issue of bridging and being close, and change and the future. In the night he could hear the wolves howling. The moon was up, and in the morning the fields were covered with large eggs. What is real? What is beauty? What is artificial? How how should it be perceived? What is good? Had Gert been among the wolves? He liked to be out in the wild. Or Elizabeth? It wasn't class, he was swimming. An eaten cone, death or decay, or a sign of life. How come it is so difficult to see behind the obvious? Where is the missing key? Let's have the answers. The Midland paper is real and play. Marga ponders. Joe is busy. Srivasta's paper introduces the aspiration for a consultant to strive for what is good, our needs to dream. What an incredible idea. Appreciate the unknown and do it together with others. Some guys prefer football. That is real. Juan has a new hat. And from a vision he creates his life on paper. Could that really be him, symbolized with a bridge of a whale's tail? And he is really taken by the idea to work for what is good. And John Pete, now part of the game, assists. Beer and Willem mends a puncture as part of action research. There is experience of loss of an embedded vineyard expert and of lost opportunities. Towards the end, also Luke appears in the mist, bringing history of wisdom, explained and accepted, but of course not entirely. Homework. The time of fruition, of ripening came in September. Warmth and wisdom grew out of the fit between the person, the model, and the issue. The person, a different man. Nature, a model, and feelings and art and creation, issues. Feelings as serious carriers of hard facts. Nature as teacher of cyclic processes and trees, and photosynthesis as the major contributor to a sustainable world. Man and his actions being decisive to the outcome. And Wilma exposes the sadness of being rejected by a company during the implication phase in spite of a good job. And suddenly he realizes that the curve of transition does not only apply to crisis, but to all change processes. One can never teach anybody anything. One can only arrange for others to learn. What a skilled staff. So finally, there was a learning institution that could achieve anything. And it was done by building trust in oneself. Trust and respect and, if you like, love. And when this is shared, individuals become one. And talents develop freely and become unified whenever necessary. And there was good, and there was bad, but in the end there was only one choice, the choice to do good.